Today I'm going to break down Billy's kit. On the surface, he seems to be a pretty straightforward character, being the team's healer. However, utilizing a couple of his unique mechanics, you can actually turn him into one of your best damage dealers. Like most other party members, Billy has access to death blows and can use them to increase his physical damage output. He has a bit lower bulk than the rest of the party, but he has a solid agility at 9 and strong ether. Billy has an amazing spell list on top of his great ether stat. He can keep your party in fighting shape with Purity Light to remove negative status effects, and keep everyone topped off on HP with his single target and AoE healing spells. In addition to this, he has 2 buffs, Goddess Eyes and Goddess Call. One was supposed to grant a defense boost, but sadly, like all the other defense buffs in the game, it is bugged and doesn't work. The other one does work, and it grants Haste, which is a very strong buff to use. Later on, he'll learn the Elemental Shield spells, and after that, Goddess Wake, which can be used to revive an ally at 50% HP. While the revive spell comes a bit too late to be useful, the shield spells are absolutely some of Billy's strongest, and it's not super intuitive on how to use them. What the shield spells do is grant any target resistance to one element, as well as weakness to its opposite. So for example, Water Shield would grant resistance to water and weakness to fire. The hidden power of these spells is utilizing them as an offensive tool. With a 30% increase to the damage of the opposing element, you can use them in tandem with the 7 AP Death Blows, Alien M spells, or Bart's Mode spells to get a powerful damage buff. Moving on from that, we can now discuss Billy's unique mechanic, that being his guns. For his triangle and cross attacks, you'll have to buy ammo for his guns throughout the game, which can contribute to his physical damage output. This isn't particularly notable though, as your other physical party members will probably be out-damaging him anyway. What's more interesting is Billy's square attacks, using his ether gun. Rather than physical damage, this deals damage based on Billy's ether as if he were casting an offensive spell. This gun specifically also comes with ammo and will never run out. Worth noting is that there is a slight bug with the ammo. Even though you can buy and equip water and earth ammo, and swap the other ammos that he comes with around, no matter what, his square attacks will always alternate between wind and fire. This is a bit unfortunate for certain fights like with the elements, but there are ways later in the game that you can circumvent the issue. Once you get to Solaris near the end of Disc 1, you can get a gun for Triangle called Matchlock, which functions similarly to the ether gun. It does require ammo, but the elemental properties are actually customizable and functioning. That said, for all 4 of the triangle animations, you'll only get 1 element, and you won't alternate between other ammo. I like to equip Billy with the water element, allowing him to deal a lot of damage to Seraphita in the Anima 1 boss fight. Speaking of his damage output though, we should move on to his accessories. As mentioned before, Billy's ether guns deal damage as if he was casting a spell, which also means that the ether doubler would apply to his damage output with his normal attacks. This simply doubles Billy's damage output as his gun attacks have no ether cost. It'll work for all his square attacks and his triangle attacks as long as the matchlock is equipped. With the ether doubler, he can get 3 or 4 hits in with his ether attacks per turn, making his damage output significantly higher than anyone else's in the party. For other accessories, a speed ring would also be helpful to give him turns more often. And of course, with his lower defense set, you'll want to equip him with some armor to keep him alive. For accessories I would specifically recommend against, the Lifestone and the Holy Pendant increase the buff timer and healing granted to self, not to others, so unless you want to use haste on Billy, put these on someone else. Additionally, while the Economy Ether is often used on ether builds to counter the ether doubler's cost, I find it unnecessary on Billy, as he isn't casting spells as often, and also has plenty of EP to spare. Moving on to Ren Maswo, it's actually quite similar to Billy's ground kit. It has 2 physical guns with triangle and cross, as well as an ether gun with square. But the big difference here is that the ether gun doesn't have an elemental property like it does on foot, so you won't need to worry about enemies absorbing your attacks. Outside of this, Billy has 2 unique special options, which are spoilers for the end of his arc. Jesse Cannon and Jesse Blaster are powerful single-target ether attacks, costing 500 and 1000 respectively. With a high base power, if Billy has an ether doubler and some ether amp accessories, he can easily reach damage cap with Jesse Cannon, making Blaster a bit pointless. Jesse Cannon is incredible though, and being non-elemental you don't have to worry about it healing enemies. My only real complaint with it is that the animation takes a long time, which adds up in long fights like the super boss in Disc 2. For gear accessories, Ren Maswo has a capacity of 720, meaning you can equip 2 power magics without getting weighed down, or 1 power magic and 2 E circuits. Since ether circuits only grant 4 to power magics 10, you're better off with 2 power magics and no third accessory. Though if you do want a third accessory, go with 1 power magic and 1 ether circuit. Overall, ether is by far going to be your best bet, so I find that the third accessory is generally unnecessary. With all that said, there really isn't much more to talk about. Billy offers some amazing support and utility with his spell list, as well as incredible damage output if you want to build him that way. He is super versatile and useful in pretty much every fight in the game. I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.